Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. I'm your host, Dr. Dan Ratner. I'm here with Kasey Scheinvold, Fantasy Pros expert Andrew Seifer, and as always, Ross the Boss.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk fantasy sports with you, cowboy.
All right, well, Ross, we're going to see if you still want to talk fantasy sports with us with this topic, because this is right in Kasey and my wheelhouse. We're going to talk about who you are as a fantasy manager. This is not like a Buddhist experiment or anything like that. We're not going to meditate. But you do need to know, what type of manager are you? I'm just going to give you an example, since we talked about this segment and Ross immediately got very disoriented and walked into a wall. It was very confusing for him. So I'll give you an example. I have too much of a trigger finger. So I'm constantly cutting players of value. I need to know that about myself to stop myself. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing it. So I want to hear from you one thing that you think you do well and one thing you do not do so well. Or if you want to just list many things you don't do well and slip into depression, that's fine too. We have 2 therapists on this podcast. All right.
We can help you with that.
That's right. So who's going to?
I'll go first.
Nobody
I'll
wants
go
to start.
first.
Wow, a very guarded group.
Ross the Boss will go first. And listen,
all right.
You know, we do this waiver wire show on Mondays, and it actually airs on Tuesdays, which you should actually watch because it's very informative. If you do play fantasy football, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. But that being said, I've been getting rid of a lot of players off what we talk about. Like, I want to cut. Like, I had a list of 5 running backs, like Singletary, Montgomery, Gordon. I got rid of those guys. I mean, I really did. I cut them from my team. I got rid of Wentz too for Philadelphia.
You got rid of Zeke?
I didn't have Zeke. I wish I did. I knew his year wouldn't be that great.
He talked
this
a big
year.
game.
No, yeah. But I knew I would never draft him. Actually, he went in the first round. Way too early for him. We'll talk about that later. But that being said, I actually cleaned house. I was a housekeeper, I guess, the past couple weeks. I cleaned my house. I brought in some new players that I feel is going to have a great end game, which means the last 4 weeks, I feel these guys will pick it up. So that's what I did. So I was a guy that I'm not waiting anymore for these guys to have big weeks. I'm done with that. Those days are over for us.
So is this a strength? This sounds like a strength.
Hold on, I'm my earpiece. Those days are over.
Knocked
for
his
Ross
own
the
earpiece
Boss.
out.
Those days are over for Ross the Boss. Ross the Boss is a guy that's looking for the future. I'm not going to wait for these dead guys to come back from the dead and be alive again. It's not going to happen. So what you guys should do is take my lead, cut these players that are just dead weight, and go with the future. That's Ross the Boss.
So, okay, Ross, but what I'm hearing from you is that you would consider to be a strength of yours, that you can move on. You don't think too much.
I'm not attached.
I don't overthink it.
Because Andrew gets emotionally attached to things. He thinks players are still like the same guys they were like Melvin Gordon. He still thinks Melvin Gordon is the same player when he played for the Chargers, which he's not.
Ross,
I'm talking.
Okay.
So Andrew's a guy that thinks the past is still going on. He's still living his life. He has these guys in dynasty leagues. He has them stashed away. I don't know why. I mean, what's Montgomery going to do in his dynasty league?
I actually don't own him anywhere. But
okay, fine. What I'm saying is this. I'm a guy. I'm just clearing house. It's time to clear house and have a clear mind and have players on your team that want to play football, not to sit around on the bench.
All right. Well, I feel like I have to defend my honor, and then we can actually get to the question that Dan asked you, which you clearly did not answer. But
I did. I said I was.
You did not name a weakness. You did not name a weakness of yours.
He didn't name a weakness at all.
No, you didn't.
Ross the Boss doesn't have any weaknesses.
He's the
I'm
boss.
like Dr.
Right,
Manhattan.
yeah.
So listen,
No,
guys,
Dr.
one
Manhattan,
of his weaknesses is that he thinks he has no weaknesses. That's a problem.
I think it's
Listen,
rich. That
one of my
no,
weaknesses
you've
is
talked
my
enough
strengths.
there. But
Dr.
It's my
Dan,
strengths.
there's a
That's
word
my
for
weakness.
that.
Is
What's
my
that
strength.
word?
It's kind of rich
it
that
ain't just
coming
a
from
river
the
in
guy
Egypt.
that makes moves to impress people at dinner parties and makes pickups based on what college players went to, whether they went to the same school as him, that he's saying, I'm the one that's tied to emotions. That's funny. I'm tied to data. The reason I argue for keeping players is because of their usage, because of their snap counts and actual tangible facts. So you got to work on that one. But I'll steer this back to where Dan was actually taking it. In terms of my strengths, I would say again, it's crunching the numbers. I've been a researcher in my life and a reporter, and so I know how to find a lot of information that maybe isn't getting written up in the fantasy community and get my own kind of intel. So that helps me. I think I'm pretty even keeled, and I think that helps me as well. Some weaknesses are, with certain people's that I find difficult personalities. I just don't. I have trouble trading with them because I just can't go. It just aggravates me too much, and I just don't want to go through the hard work of doing that. And then in terms of knowing myself, I'd say I'm pretty risk averse. So I'll be the guy who doesn't, risk waiting on a player whose health is in question and they're playing in a late game or something like that. I think that's a smart move, but there are times where it backfires as well. And the people that are more risky and wait for that player end up getting rewarded handsomely for it. So those are just some thoughts that come to mind.
And I think for me,
that's good. Thorough.
Sure. What you're going to find is maybe one of my other weaknesses is that I can only find weaknesses in myself, and I tend to avoid trying to find strengths. But I think my primary weaknesses are actually kind of a paradox. One is I can get very impatient and with my roster and want to make trades. But at the same point, I tend to hold on to players too long because I'm assuming they're going to, one of Ross's criticisms of Andrew might actually be more true of me. I tend to believe in somebody I valued early on that they're still going to regain that value at some point, even when perhaps the numbers that Andrew crunches shows that I'm just dead wrong. And I still become a little gun shy at cutting them because I guess my greatest fear is I cut them, then they achieve stardom on somebody else's team and I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, I brought this up last week. It's the sunken cost fallacy, right? It's
correct.
You don't win by sticking to your guns on those sort of things.
Okay, Dan, lay down on your couch. I'll be your therapist, and we're going to talk about your weaknesses and strengths. Let's talk about first your weaknesses. What's your weakness in fantasy football, Dan? You have a lot, so I don't have enough time here. But what is
I know. Listen, yeah, see, because two of my strengths are fantasy baseball and fantasy basketball. So you hear when we're talking about football, it's not as good. I will say this, though. I have come further this season than I've ever come, and there's a reason for that, and it is one of my strengths. I am a very good learner. Now, here's the problem that I've had with fantasy football. I never understood the problem. Once I understand the problem, I get pretty good. If I don't understand the problem, that's going to be pretty hard, but I do have several weaknesses that are still very much present, and I'll just list two so that we don't get into a whole sob story. And by the way, I'm not even going to talk about bad luck because that I think is starting to change since the 2016 LeBron championship in Cleveland. I feel totally fine about luck now. But here's what I do. First of all, as I mentioned, I have too quick of a trigger finger, so I am constantly cutting players of value. I look at people's rosters and I'm like, I've owned almost all of these players. I make more moves than anyone in any league. Anyone who's played with me knows this. I just made a move right now, and I don't even have a device. I can do it with my mind. I'm kidding. I can't do that. It's another weakness. Damn it. Okay, so another major weakness that I have, though, and this is actually my worst. Other people, when they say things, I get too influenced by it, and I need to shut you all out. Stop saying things to me, because here's the thing, and it's terrible. Sometimes I shut people out. I don't listen at the times I should. I do listen at the times I shouldn't. I got it completely backwards when it comes to that, which is totally different than how I am in many other areas of life. I don't know why. There's certain areas where, I'm just backwards. I walk into a store, I walk out, and I go the wrong direction every time. It seems to be a Cleveland thing, actually, if I'm finding. Anyways, those are some of my major weaknesses. Yes.
I also wanted to talk about something that a weakness I've noticed in almost every person I've ever seen play fantasy sports, and it's not necessarily a weakness that makes you more likely to
what you're going to say.
Matches.
Does that include
it's a weakness that makes you more likely to not enjoy the game, and that's is feeling like you are constantly being wronged by the world and are powerless to stop it. And I think that there's a real blind spot that almost everyone I've played fantasy sports with, and I'm guilty of it myself at times. We think, so say that you have like 5 players on your team and you're deciding which one to start, right? There's only one right answer. There's only one of those 5 players that is going to score the most points. But the way that your brain works is that if you don't pick the right one, if you pick the one that, say, scores the 3rd most points, and then you end up losing your matchup by, a couple points, and if you had chose the other one, it would have been different. People beat themselves up so badly about those things, and the reality is, statistically, your odds weren't great to get that answer right, So, and the way we remember it often isn't the way it really was. We think, oh, well, that was the other guy I was really leaning towards, when in reality there might have been 2 other guys you thought about playing too, So it's like, I think that we all sort of come at this. Like I said, almost everyone I've seen play the game comes at it like they're so unlucky. Things are not fair for them. They always make the wrong move, and it kills them. And I think that just takes a lot of the enjoyment out of the game. You have to sort of embrace the randomness of it a little bit, and the long run of it a bit, and just try to, So I've worked on that myself to just try to be more even keeled about that, and it really makes it more fun.
I listen. I had a horrible, I didn't want to bring this up, but I will, because I want to show you I'm human. I do lose once in a while. Nick Chubb, I had starting in my team. The last second he could have scored a touchdown. Instead, he took a knee at the 1 yard line. I don't know why. It's like stupidity. Still don't.
Well, it won them the game.
Did he have money on? Did he have money on the other team? Is that why?
No, it was the same. It was the same reason that Todd Gurley. Remember how he scored accidentally and they lost?
Or
he
when
was
Penn
avoiding
State
that.
against
So
Indiana
if Chubb
in
would have
week 1
scored, I would have won my fantasy league. I won a fantasy game. Instead, I lose my game because Chubb decides to take a knee. I didn't bet on the game, but can you imagine the bettors in Vegas? The spread was 3. Can you imagine the bettors in Vegas thinking they won the game, and all of a sudden the guy takes a knee and you don't win? That's an unbelievable thing. I mean,
But that's something like that happens all the time. I mean,
it does not happen all the time.
Sure,
no.
it does. My opponent.
Give me another example.
Or the guy in my league lost because of that crazy, Hail Mary from Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, and he was playing against someone that had both players, and they both needed to score for his opponent to beat him.
How great is that?
Brutal.
Honestly, the more you pay attention to these things, the more bad.
I know,
and that's the thing. I watch all the games, Ross. I know you watch all the games too. So if you do that, you see more of these. You see, James Robinson had 2 touchdowns called back on penalties.
I saw that too
last week. And people might lose because of that.
And I lost by 4 points because of that.
That play was the best play of the year, just so you guys know. I've been watching football for many years, and that play was like unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought when you saw it. My jaw dropped. I mean, Kyrie Murray.
It's the play of the year
Murray
so
for me
far.
now he's an MVP talks now. He's had 5 straight games where he's scored rushing. Not
I just want to comment that
rushing.
have you noticed that we've started to not even correct you when you say the wrong name? Kyrie Murray.
We're just used to it, and we assume
But I love that. I love that
Kyrie Murray. What is it?
Kyler.
It's Kyler.
Oh, Kyler.
Way better than Kyrie.
But
Irving
it doesn't matter.
at football.
This is something I'll give Ross a lot of credit for. It doesn't matter what his first name is.
Doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm
It
talking about.
matters whether you
what
throw
I'm
down
saying
in
is
fantasy
this:
football.
there's a lot of heartbreaking in football, like Andrew said. The stuff that affects you mentally. And it probably will mess your whole night up because it's stupid play.
And you tend to only notice the ones that happen to you. You don't tend to even notice the ones that happen to your opponent. So
or the ones that you benefit from. People don't remember the ones they benefit from. They're just like, yep, I almost got unlucky is how it gets characterized. I totally agree with you, Andrew. I think it's a great point about how to enjoy the game. I also wanted to say, if it's taken too far, you'll start to make bad decisions because you are thinking that way. You'll start to be like, I'm going to take a very safe player because I always screw this up. And then you get in your own head. So it's not just about enjoying the game. You actually start to play badly if you do that too. Great point, though. Guys, this was so enjoyable to me, but then again, I am a therapist, so I'm a little biased, but I think you guys did a great job with this. Up next, we have Alonzo Bowden joining us. I cannot wait. He is a very funny man. Can't wait to interview him with Ross.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss, and I'm excited today. we have one of my favorite comedians on today. We have Alonzo Bowden on today. You can see him live. I'm saying live, not on Zoom, not on that, but you can see him live in Arlington, Virginia, November 27th and 28th. And you can see him in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at Hilarities, December 10th through the 12th. Let's welcome Alonzo Bowden. Alonzo, welcome.
What is up, Ross? How you doing, man?
Good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited. I'm wearing my Clipper Nation sweatband right here. I'm excited for the draft. The draft's this week. Alonzo, I see you at Clipper games. I mean, what's your whole thought of the whole bubble and the NBA and everything that's happened the past 6 months?
Watching the bubble, I mean, congratulations. Congrats to the Lakers, especially LeBron. I'm not a Laker fan, but I am a LeBron fan, so I'm happy to see him win one. But I said it at the beginning, that scene, I don't know if it's an NBA championship as much as it's winning a tournament. You know what I mean? Like it had that feeling, because what you didn't have was the travel city to city, getting tired, dealing with all of that, and the fans. And especially in close games, I think the fans do make a difference. So again, no disrespect to the Lakers and winning it, but I think that there's going to be I hate that term asterisk. It's just a different season. It's a different season. Now, as a Clipper fan, obviously disappointed. Happy to see the second round. As you know, Ross, as a Clipper fan, the second round's a victory. But no, this year, I expected him to go deeper, and, it happened. And I understand getting rid of Doc. Listen, I love Doc Rivers, but he had enough chances with enough teams. Time to try something new.
We were up 3-1 and we lost to Denver. I'm so upset about it. I still have nightmares about it, Alonzo. I get sick about it. It's horrible. Let's talk NFL football. What's your whole take on, I know they changed, the Washington Redskins got rid of their name. They're just the team of Washington. What's your whole take on that, on changing the name and not hating, they didn't even rename their team
Wait,
yet. I mean,
that reminds me, Alonzo, you had a skit, I think, about, or you had a bit about the Red Blacks. Am I recalling that correctly?
Yes, there's the All Blacks in New Zealand. Then there's the Red Blacks in the Canadian Football League, which that is the laziest naming of a team I've ever seen. I mean, the All Blacks, there's a whole history to that in New Zealand and this and that. But in the CFL, they were just like, what are they wearing? Red and black. All right, we'll go with that. I mean, fine. Put a little effort into naming your team. The thing with Washington is it's times change, right? So that name, it's interesting that Washington has this history, though. You think they learned with the Bullets, right? Remember the Bullets?
Yeah, Wes Unseld. Wes Unseld with the afro.
So they said, listen, there's a lot of shooting going on. Maybe we don't want to call the team the Bullets. Maybe back then they'd have been, and while we're at it, that Redskin thing, you might want to work on a replace. It's not like this is new. So I don't get not having a name. You hold some kind of sweepstakes. This would have been the perfect year. You give someone season tickets and then you say, sorry, can't come. But we did give them to you. It could have been free. They could have got a new name for no money.
It's true.
I mean, are you watching the NFL this year? Are you paying attention? Do you watch Sunday? Do you sit down and watch football? Or I know you're a big basketball guy.
I'm a semi fan. If a game's on, I'll watch it. It's been a few years since, you remember, I don't know, about 5-6 years ago when you had to follow the arrest statistics in the NFL to know who was playing on Sunday. Like, no, he's not out yet. He can't play this week. Wait, he's on probation and the team traveled. Like, I got so tired of that kind of turned me off to the league. Now, so if I'm home, I'll watch a game. I don't have a team. I used to have the Jets. I grew up in New York.
You're a Queens guy, right? You grew up in Queens, yeah.
The Jets signed Tebow. I said, look, if you don't care, I don't care. All right, that was when I drew the line on that.
That was the end.
That was the end. I'm thinking I'm going to become a Charger fan because it just seems to fit with being a Clipper. Now, the Chargers have lost 6 games this year in the fourth quarter. So as a Clipper fan, it just seems fitting that I would be a Charger fan.
The Chargers just didn't lose games in the fourth quarter. They had leads of 16 points and more in 5 straight games, and they figured a way to lose these games, which is
Alonzo,
crazy.
I think you guys might want to become Cleveland Browns fans. I mean, you sound like you're used to these beatdowns that are epic.
Well, here's the difference. At least with the Clippers or the Chargers, there's hope. At least we go up 3-1 or so. Like, to be a Cleveland fan is to just give up hope altogether. I mean, with all due respect to the Browns, that's no, we're not that far down.
Listen, Alonzo, there is no due respect to the Browns. I mean, come on. Even at 6-3, after the stuff they put us through, no respect to the Browns, not yet.
Now, did you watch the Dodgers win the World Series? We paying attention?
Especially this year. This year, baseball was great. That again, dealing with the pandemic and the playoffs and the bubble and the way it was set up and all, but these games were good. The league championships were good, and then the World Series was great. The games, there were twists. It was interesting. Like, anyone who said baseball is boring, which you hear all the time, did not watch this year's playoffs. This year's playoffs, there was action, drama, last minute, heroics. Mookie Betts just said nothing goes over the fence, right? I mean, he just decided, I don't care how hard you hit it, I'm jumping up and catching it. That guy was absolutely unreal to watch in the outfield, but it made the games fun. Yeah, this was a great year, for baseball.
For LA, and Mookie Betts was rewarded very nicely. He signed a $430 million deal. He actually bought a house in Bel Air that Chip Kelly, the coach of the Bruins, used to own. So I know Mookie's very happy to live in LA, and he's living the high life
for everybody.
Yeah. Now, do you think they should? Do you think they should parade? Should be a combination between the Dodgers and the Lakers, and they should have one big?
No parade
for you.
We wait till we're open.
Okay.
And then you each get a parade. No way, none of that shared parade. No. Enjoy it. You know what? Enjoy it. I mean, this is one of those things, right? For some players, like you look at LeBron, it's like, okay, it's another championship. Even Danny Green, right? Another championship. But for some players, and this is going to be the only time in their life. This is going to be the only chance. It's big, especially in baseball. What do the veterans always say to the rookies? If you get to go, enjoy it, because you think you're going to go again, and then you never go again, know? So, no, I think they should each. And the other thing that's great, without getting too political on this show, but it is going to be great to see champions go to the White House again and laugh and have a good time. And so, yeah, I think we should.
And not have fast food. Not have fast food served.
No Big Macs. Let's delay the celebration and give them a celebration. And again, this is coming from a Clipper and a Met fan, so it's kind of like my foils have won, but I still say, they won, they earned it.
No,
I agree. I even think this year, some people said that baseball should be an asterisk, but I can't remember who was making this point. Somebody said, no, listen, the Dodgers had to win 4 series. Like the 1927 Yankees had to win 1 series. They just had to win 1. So it's really impressive what they did, and I was happy for them. And I like a team that beats a drought. After the pandemic's over, I think we'll celebrate the 1964 Cleveland Browns, because it's been...
I don't think so. Now, talking about LeBron James. Talking about LeBron James, Alonzo, have you seen his show on HBO? The shop. Now, let me ask you a question. I've been in barber shops, not like in like South Central or anything, but I've been in barbershops. I mean, in that show, they never argue. They're always agreeing on everything they say. There's no argument. I know that arguments are epic in those type of situations.
I don't agree with you, Ross.
They don't argue. They always agree. They always agree. I mean, what's your take on it?
Disagree sometimes, but the difference between LeBron's barbershop and any other barbershop is LeBron invites guests. He invites who he wants to be there. You understand?
I didn't know. I thought they were just randomly there.
No, it'd be different if it was anyone walking in off the street. Then you'd see a little more difference of opinion. But when LeBron invites you to his shop, you respect the shop. My favorite joke on the entire series, when they had Jon Stewart on and they said, "John, have you ever been to a black barbershop?" And he said, "Only to collect the rent." I fell out of my chair.
That's a great line. Did anybody laugh or they just stared at him?
Oh, they loved it.
Okay,
they loved it. That was hilarious.
Sometimes people don't take jokes that, you never know. So let's. I know you're an avid motorcycle person. We talked earlier about how Jay Leno calls you to come on his show when he has a certain motorcycle and wants to show off to you, basically. I know you were test driving some cars and some motorcycles recently. What were you doing?
Yeah. I get to play with some cool toys. Ducati loaned me a bike for a week, and I got to ride that around. I tell everyone the difference, and Ross, you know this. I say, listen, they lend them to me, they give them to Leno. That's the difference. When Jay gets one, he don't have to give it back.
No,
With me, it's like, all right, Alonzo, it's been 5 days. Come on, we gave it to you full of gas. You give it back full of gas. So that. But it's very cool. And then I was in Vegas. There's a thing called Speed Vegas off the strip, and you go there, and they have Corvettes and Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches, and you just pay to do laps in their cars, which again is just great, and it's super fun because I just drove a Shelby Mustang, and you don't get to just floor it and go wide open with a Shelby Mustang on the street. Although some people were doing that in the LA freeways in April and May because there wasn't too much
no traffic.
But,
yeah, it was easy. Except for
but no, that kind of stuff, man. It's a fun side benefit of comedy that when they find out you're a gearhead, they invite you to play with some toys and talk about them as a comic, which both of my worlds come together. I love it.
So one of my favorite bits, we talked about this when I saw you a few months before the pandemics opened up. I've seen you for many years, Montreal and Last Comic Standing. We have a long history with each other. But that being said, I love the bit, maybe you can do it for us, is the gay shape, being in gay shape. And explain to the audience why you want to be in gay shape. And
I don't have to explain to the audience. The audience knows. Gay men are the most ripped, cut up, amazing. I went to the gym. I got a trainer to what's your goals? I want to get in the gay shape. You understand? I want to be able to confuse a gay man. That's the kind of shape I wanted to be in. And at no point was I that disciplined. They were like, all right, you can eat 2 peanuts and a piece of kale every day and just work on abs. But they look phenomenal. And everybody knows it. When you go past the gym in West Hollywood, there are bodybuilders who are like, let me put a sweatshirt on. I'm looking bad. Yeah.
No, it's a great. Again, you have some great jokes. You're always writing new jokes. Have you written anything new that you want to test out on us? That's something for the pandemic or anything going on?
Here's my latest, and this is true. People are talking about Biden this, Biden that. You know what I'm looking forward to with Biden? Boring. Wouldn't it be great for the White House to just be boring again? Like this morning, the old man ate some oatmeal, and we just see him eating oatmeal, right, with no brown sugar, no raisins, it's an old man eating oatmeal at the White House, and it's calm and it's quiet, and we're all just happy again. I look forward to boring. Just show the old
America
man walking the dog.
Boring again. Make America boring again.
Today he walked the dog, and we'll just be like, Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? He walked the dog, and he didn't attempt to start World War III or insult half the American population. There were no sort of good Nazis around. No, he just walked the dog, and then he had
sort
some
of good
oatmeal.
Nazis.
That's
sort of good Nazis.
Alonzo, thanks for coming on. You were a great guest like usual. Love to have you back again when basketball season starts, because I want to talk Clippers with you when they're playing. And I'm
curious. It's crazy how quick the season's back, right? It's starting again.
December 22nd.
It was delayed.
Yeah.
Yep.
December 22nd, and Westbrook might be a Clipper. What's your thought on that, real quick? And then I'll let you go.
I have no idea. I liked the rumor. I liked better because the NBA is always crazy rumors. That brief rumor that Chris Paul was coming back. I would have liked to see CP3 running this team on the floor. So I was hoping for that one. Trading Westbrook for Paul George, who knows? I mean, a friend of mine and I were talking, who would think that Paul George and Dwight Howard would both come to L.A. and Paul George would be the head case? Who saw that coming? Huh? Who would have said, oh, yeah, that PG3,
awesome.
Yeah, that's, oh, boy, he's out there. What, are you kidding
Dwight
me?
can hold it together.
Alonzo,
Fine.
Alonzo, thanks for coming on. You'll be in Arlington, Virginia, November 27th, 28th, and then Hilarities in Philly, December 10th through the 12th. Thanks for coming on. I'm Ross the Boss, and I love talking sports with Alonzo and Dan. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Alonzo. It's time for Take Your Pick. Last week, our picks were erased because we did move to a Sunday release, and we didn't think it was fair to make picks while the games were going on. So we're not going to check how we did last week, but we're going to talk about how we're going to do this week. Who would like to start us off with their pick for best player of the week, surprise player of the week? Remember, this is outside the top 24 rankings of wide receiver and running backs, or outside the top 12 of quarterbacks and tight ends.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
All right,
go ahead.
There we go.
Better be good.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be Jalen Reagor. And I get it, guys.
I hope so.
You know, it's like Philly hasn't really been clicking. They came out of their bye week. They had all of their pass catchers healthy. They were playing the Giants, and they were terrible. But Jalen Reagor has been doing okay since he's come back from his injury for the past 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, he's leading the team in targets. And this week, he's got a juicy matchup against Cleveland, who are giving wide receivers the 6th most fantasy points of the season. And receivers in the slot, especially, are doing pretty well, where they've given opposing slot receivers 7 touchdowns in 9 games. And this is primarily where Reagor has been playing recently. So I think he's got a great matchup, even though the Eagles haven't been playing so hot. But I like him this week. I'm going with Jalen Reagor.
I love the pick, and the Browns really do make a lot of people look good. I'm going to keep.
I just
doing
worry
this.
about
I don't
the
care if
weather
Browns
in
is 6
Cleveland.
I'm worried about Wentz. Well, Wentz is so bad this year, and no one's recognizing except Ross the boss. I wouldn't bet $1 on Wentz. And his offense, they're not even giving it to the running backs. Running backs are averaging 6 yards a carry on that team, and they're barely giving the running backs the ball. What does that tell you? That Wentz is calling the plays, and he has no idea what he's doing. But Reagor could have a big game because Wentz does what he wants. There's no coaching there.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
so Ross, who's your pick? Oh, Kasey, you go.
No, I was just going to say
Ross,
I've
you
already
go.
been burned
Kasey,
by
go.
picking a. I've been burned by picking a sleeper against Cleveland in Cleveland because of the weather. You know, I worry mostly about 30-mile-an-hour winds and cold in Cleveland, and think that can ruin a passing game. I went with a running back, actually. I'm going with Rex Burkhead. He had a big game last week. New England doesn't have a lot of pass catchers on their team, and they're going against the Houston Texans, who seem to be pretty much a sieve on defense at this point. I think you'll see a lot of those kind of dump-offs that Cam Newton is going to do when there's no wide receivers open, and I think Burkhead could get you some completions, which will get the PPR numbers up and maybe even find the end zone once or twice again.
That falls under Andrew's rule. You never take a Belichick running back. I mean, I was told
No,
that.
that's my rule. Are you
Oh, is that
kidding?
your rule? I
But
thought it
I
was
think-
Andrew's.
Yeah, that's
James
my
White,
rule.
typically.
Okay, I
Patriots running backs
apologize.
are-
It's
are
Dan's.
hell.
It's Dr.
Thank you.
Dan's rule. You don't take a running back on the New England Patriots.
I
It's
nearly
always a
took
mistake.
Jacoby Myers, but he hasn't found the end zone yet this year, and I don't know if
He
this is
threw a
gonna be the first
touchdown. He
week
looked
does it.
good, but it's not a bad pick. I like Burkhead.
All right, Ross, who's yours?
So I'm actually taking a quarterback. I usually don't, but I took this guy as my number 1 waiver wire pick up on Tuesday. When hopefully everybody watched the waiver wire show, you learn a lot of information. I hope everybody watched.
I watched it live. I mean, I was there.
I'm taking, and they're playing the Dallas Cowboys, who has a horrible defense, and they're going to try to stop Cook, I think, first. So I'm taking Kirk Cousins because I think they'll put 9 people in the box. Adam and my other guy, who's the other one?
Justin
Who's the other-
Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson. I mean, they're going to be great. I mean, those guys are going to have both huge games. Kirk Cousins is going to have 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to have a huge game. He's probably available in your league, so pick him up. He's in my top 5 to start this week. The Cowboys are awful. It's a great pickup. Listen to me.
I love it. But, in the Fantasy Pros rankings that we go with, there were a lot of players that I was like, this person's available to, like Mike Evans is available against the Rams.
He was number 25. I saw that, but
He was?
I mean,
Yeah, he was.
yeah, he's outside the top 24. So I was like, well, I should go for him. But I want to be a little more exciting than that.
that's fine. Cousins is available, guys. Pick him up.
Yeah, but listen, if I had to take a running back, Kenyon Drake is ranked 25 also, just on the brink. I think he's going to have a good game. But I want to go with something more interesting. I think Michael Pittman against Green Bay. He's the 40th ranked wide receiver. He's starting to break out. We've been calling this. I called it on the waiver wire 2 weeks ago. We called it this week too. This is the week he will become owned by everybody. If I'm right. If I'm wrong, he's going to be cut by everyone, including me.
I love him.
But
USC Trojan.
I think it's a good
big
pick.
Pac-12. I love Pittman. I don't know how we'll do against Green Bay, but we'll see. It should be a great game.
All right, let's call in Fantasy Pros expert Andrew Seifer to see who
Yes.
he's got.
Yes.
All right, Andrew.
Oh, baby.
Now's your big chance. This is your big break.
Tannehill?
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
You have to
Tannehill.
do this every week.
Well, let's see.
Tannehill.
I'm going to take. I'm actually going to buy into the only offense I know of that Ross the Boss hates more than the Eagles, and that's their division mates, the Dallas Cowboys, who will be on the other side of that game that Ross is talking about. Kirk Cousins putting up huge video game numbers. I think that Andy Dalton is also going to put up some big numbers. I actually think he's going to put up bigger numbers than Kirk Cousins, but he's not my pick. I want to go wide receiver. And I wanted to go with Amari Cooper, but right before airtime, he snuck right into the top 24. So instead, I'm going to take his teammate, CeeDee Lamb, who's a lot further down in the rankings. We know this guy.
He's on my team also.
There you go, Dan. This is all to make you happy. That's what we live for here on MFSN.
You guys are the best.
But CeeDee Lamb, we know the talent. He's an incredible talent. They're coming out of their bye. Teams usually get their act together a bit coming out of the bye and at least have, bring in some new plays that they weren't running
Not the
before.
Eagles.
The Eagles
not
are the
the
exception
Eagles.
to every rule, I suppose. I think that the Vikings are bottom 7 in the league in pass yards allowed. They're bottom 7 in touchdowns allowed through the air as well. So I really think that the Cowboys can, they're a little healthier than they were before the bye as well. So I really think they can get that passing game going with Dalton back under center. He has a very solid career. He's had a couple top 10 fantasy finishes in his career. And even last year, he was a serviceable quarterback with much less useful weapons in Cincinnati than he has now in Dallas. So I think that passing game's going to get going, and CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big game against Minnesota.
You heard it here first. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us again. We'll see how your pick does next week. Okay, guys. We're going to turn to the games now. We've got Atlanta at New Orleans. This is a big division rivalry, but Atlanta really has fallen off this year, obviously. The Saints are 7-point favorites. What do you guys look for in this game?
So Atlanta's won 2 games in a row. I don't know why you're saying they're falling off. They've been in a winning streak. That's a streak. And
I don't
New
understand
Orleans has
winning
won
streaks.
6 in a New Orleans has won 6 in a row. So it's a pretty good game. It's not like a big thing. The spread.
And Breeze is out now, so it's a different.
The Breeze
Saints
is
team.
out. I like the Falcons in this game. I like the points. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I'm taking the Falcons, and it's going to. I don't know about the over/under. I'm not touching that, but I like the Falcons and the points. And you heard it from me. And offensively, you take the usual suspects. I think. Of course, you take Ryan. I'm not a big fan this week of the New Orleans passing game this week. I'm kind of nervous about it because I don't really know what's going to happen.
It's hard to know what to expect.
So I probably wouldn't start a receiver on New Orleans this week.
And
Ridley,
Ridley, we don't know if he's
I think
playing.
if you own Michael Thomas, you have to play.
you got to.
play
He's a
Thomas.
first-round pick. Yeah, you start the first-round pick. Yes,
Yeah.
But is there anybody else you guys really like in that game offensively?
For the Saints, Kamara is obviously a good play. I think Latavius Murray could sneak in and be useful for the Saints as well. I think you might see Kamara catch a lot of screens. On the other side, I think you play those wide receivers. If Calvin Ridley plays, you got to run with him and Julio Jones. I think.
How about Gage? Do you start him?
Probably. I think if they're going to run the points up, he'd get some play too.
and if
And
Ridley's
Hayden
not
Hurst,
playing.
I think, is the tight end. He could sneak in there and do something. I wouldn't play any of the backfield for the Falcons, though. The Saints have a really good run defense, and I'm not all that sold on Todd Gurley or who is it? Is it?
I
who's
agree.
his backup?
I think you want
Hill.
the Atlanta passing game, but you want the New Orleans running game. That's. What
I agree, and I'm
Yeah.
nervous. I'm nervous about the Saints offense with Breeze not there. It's going to
I
be.
think
kind of
they're going to lean on Kamara heavily.
There was an interesting last week when Ridley didn't play. There was that new receiver Olamide Zacchaeus or Zacchaeus.
it.
I'm not sure
I
how you
can't
pronounce his
it.
last name. Over 100 yards and a touchdown in his
saw that.
absence. So if Calvin Ridley doesn't play, there's a sleeper you might be able to pick up last second off the waiver wire and stick him into your lineup.
This just shows how hard it is to pronounce Daenerys Targaryen because you said
It is
that name just fine.
impossible. Daenerys
All right.
Targaryen.
Let's move on to Kansas City at the Raiders. Las Vegas beat Kansas City the last time they played in Kansas City. The Chiefs are 7-point favorites in this game. I think they're going to get revenge, but will they get it by that much? Ross, you're our expert on these things. You tell us. You're never wrong about these things.
Now, the Raiders beat the Chiefs. They beat the Saints. They beat another big team, like another really good team. I forgot who it is, but it doesn't matter.
The Browns.
The Raiders are playing good football, but the whole key in this situation on betting on this game is Kansas City had a bye week. And when Kansas City has a bye week, they come out in vengeance. They'll be scoring a lot of points. You bet the over and you take Kansas City. Kansas City's just going to show they're really mad about that loss this year, because they won
and the victory lap
14 games in a row or some crazy stat. So I feel that Kansas City is really going to pile the points on against the Raiders. And for fantasy value, you start everybody you can on Kansas City. I would even start like the second string receivers that like Robinson, like those type of guys too. I think it's going to be a huge offensive display. Mahomes is going to go crazy. On the Raider front, Jacobs had 2 touchdowns last week. You got to play him. And then I'm nervous about the Raiders quarterback, Carr. I don't know how he'll do against the Kansas City defense, but we'll see. I mean, what do you guys think?
Last time the Raiders played the Chiefs, we talked about it on this show, and I remember people talking about how good the Chiefs' pass defense was statistically, and it was, but I don't think they had that much trouble moving the ball through the air against them with their short kind of West Coast passing system. So I'm not saying I would play them as a definite, but you can take flyers on Aguilar. I think you play Waller if you have him, and Renfro is probably the biggest stretch. I probably wouldn't play Carr unless I had no other option.
And I think also the thing that also kind of favors, though, Kansas City a little bit, and we'll see where this goes as the week kind of goes on. But, the Raiders have lost, they put 8 starting defensive linemen on the COVID list this week. And so I don't really know how that's going to play out, but that is something to monitor because I think that only favors Kansas City.
Did they have COVID or did they just put them on the list?
They were around people that did.
I think one guy did, but yeah.
I read that.
That was kind of like Matt Stafford last week.
They're on Zoom. They're practicing on Zoom basically this week.
Yeah.
Okay, right. 8 people. It's a bad situation in Las Vegas.
All right, I need your guys' help on the next game because we've got the Rams at Tampa Bay, and I'm in a position where I've got a roster crunch, and I'm starting the Rams against Tampa Bay at home. I don't like this. I do not like it at all. But is Tampa Bay going to go wild in this game?
If you play the Rams, they will. Isn't that kind of your luck?
The Rams just
about that.
The Rams just stopped, Russell Wilson and Seattle. I mean, I don't know that they'll necessarily stop Brady, but they could slow him down. I think you're still playing, your regular guys that you would play, but you may want to kind of, temper your expectations a little bit.
You play Evans, you play Gronk, you play all the regulars on Tampa Bay. Jones had 160 yards last week. He blew up. I think Fournette could have a good game this week.
Yeah, it probably means that Arians is going to play Fournette just to prove he's smarter than all of us.
Exactly.
I think so too. I think Fournette could have a good game this week, but Jones proved. I know he had a 94-yard run that took a lot of that yardage, but above that, he's still averaged 6 or 7 yards a carry, which is huge. But if I was betting on the game, I would take Tampa Bay. I think the Rams' big win last week. I think it's the high they have. They'll come down to earth and play Tampa Bay. I think Tampa's going to take it, and I do like the under in that game.
And I do think we talked about how such a headache that the Rams' backfield is, but I wouldn't be surprised if Malcolm Brown has a decent game this week. Tampa Bay's been able to limit rushing yards, but they have been giving up receiving yards to running backs. And, he has been able to find the end zone. And I think he's your safest running back out of the bunch this week.
Lauren's always bringing the deep stats. I love it. Okay. We've got Tennessee at Baltimore, another offense that Ross hates for good reason. The Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. What's your call in this game, Ross?
Baltimore's they're 2-2 at home. I think that Tennessee's 2-1 away. It's in Baltimore. Baltimore, their run defense isn't that great. I mean, they give up a lot of yards to the running backs. And I feel that Henry's going to have a huge game. I just feel it. I don't know what's telling me this. I feel 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know why. It's my feeling. I'm taking Tennessee. They both have the same record. They're both 6-3. I like Tennessee in this game. I think it's going to be a really hard fought game. It's going to be a great game, but I don't feel the home field advantage this year in Baltimore means anything. So I'll just take the Titans, and I love the points in the 6 points. I think it'd be a close game.
We need to figure out which organ of Ross's tells him these things.
Which one tingles?
I know.
Wait a minute, that sounded really bad.
But fantasy-wise, again, I think it's going to be I don't know. It's going to be high scoring, so I'm not in love with this game. But you got to start the usual suspects, of course. Don't start Tannehill. He's been awful the past few weeks. So
I like Henry especially.
Aren't they 1-3 in the last 4 weeks?
They lost to the Bengals. They lost to the Bengals too, and they've been losing. But I think they'll pick it up this week. They had a COVID scare and a lot of stuff going on. But I think this week they'll show some.
I think they're kind of a shoo-in to take the spread and that. It's going to be a close game. Or they win.
That's a bold selection.
Wow, that's huge. I didn't say shoo-in. I just said I like. I'm impressed.
All right. I tried to agree with you. I agreed too much. Okay, Green Bay at Indianapolis. The Packers are 2-point favorites, but they don't know that Michael Pittman's coming. So who do you got in this game? Who do we play?
So this game, everybody says how great the Colts defense is. Their front seven is really good. I mean, they're a good defense. I mean, they have a lot of guys on their team that could be all pro. I'm saying they're great. Devontae Adams is a little hurt. I don't know if it's just he's not practicing. He's kind of being held out a little bit, limited practice. His ankle's hurting him. I look at this Rivers against Rodgers, and if you're sitting at home and saying, who do I want to pick, Rivers or Rodgers? So I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. The points won't matter in this game. I think Green Bay is going to win. It's indoors. Rodgers loves playing indoors. He wins a lot indoors. His stats are high indoors. He has a lot of weapons. The Colts, I mean, if you guys to name their receivers, I don't think any of the receivers have over 500 yards on their team. I mean, for the season, there's nobody.
True, but Michael Pittman's played like 3 games.
Yeah, they run first, and I think Michael Pittman is a good choice there. If they do the dink and dunk again, Nyheim Hines had a huge game last week. If he's, but again, that's another one. Are you going to go with Jordan Wilkins? Are you going to go with Jonathan Taylor? Are you going to go with Nyheim Hines? I would take Hines just because of the pass catching ability of him, or the preference to throw the ball to him. But that's a backfield you want to avoid. Phillip Rivers, I'm not a huge fan of, but I think Pittman can have a pretty good day, a pretty productive day.
So you think the Colts have a chance?
No, I'm not saying that. I was saying from a fantasy perspective.
Okay.
From a betting perspective, I would take the Packers almost every time.
I mean, guys, every week Rodgers is just he's so focused. I've never seen a quarterback ever so focused in this season as Aaron Rodgers this year. He is like a laser. I mean, you can just tell that he's playing to win. And he's mad. I mean, I don't know where the anger comes from.
I think he sees. Well, I also think he sees this as a chance to win it all again. He's got a team that could do it. Now, let me ask one last question.
I really like Green Bay. I don't think the Colts. I don't think the Colts offense compares to Green Bay's.
Let me ask one last question in this though. If you had to play Lazard or MVS, who do you play?
MVS has been on fire. I mean, MVS has been great.
Yeah, I would take Valdez-Scantling if he's healthy.
Yeah, I would take a wait-and-see approach with Lazard right now.
All right, well, if I had to play one, I would actually take Lazard. I'm not logical, especially not in fantasy football. Maybe that's why I lose sometimes.
I don't know. Rodgers has been throwing to MVS. I mean, he's been throwing the guy to a lot the past couple weeks.
I just can't trust the guy. We'll see. We're going to talk next week to see what happened.
That's fine.
Maybe I will be completely wrong. But I love the picks. We're going to check them out next week, see how we did. But up next, are you ready, Ross? It's Ross's Rant. This is Ross's most exciting rant yet. He tried to start without me introducing it. Okay, 44 seconds. Go!
Hi, I'm Ross the Boss, and today's subject is Kyler Murray. He had the play of the year on Sunday. I don't know if you guys saw it. Huge bomb. Hopkins catches it. They win the game. It's unbelievable. Last second, I was jumping up and down. Everybody was jumping up and down. Kyler Murray has to thank a guy named Bill O'Brien. He used to be the coach and the GM of the Houston Texans. You know why? He traded away Hopkins and got David Johnson, who's been awful this year, in a couple draft picks, but who cares? But he made Kyler Murray like a number 5 or 4 quarterback in the league this year. He has 5 rushing games in a row with rushing TDs. He has 8 games this year with a TD rushing and a TD throwing. He's been unbelievable. For me, Kyler Murray is the future. He has a different speed. He's great. I love him. I'm Ross the Boss.
Welcome to another edition of Monster Madness. This time we have another special guest, a tall, dark, and funny comedian, Alonzo Bowden.
What's
Welcome
up,
to
man?
Monster Madness, Alonzo.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to
Thank
orient you. We are in the Midwest bracket. We're down to the Sweet 16. We can talk about what happened in the past. We'll update you later. But in this segment, we're going to talk about the number 1 seed Superman facing off against Dr. Manhattan, who I believe was a 9 seed. I got to check the numbers here. Hold on. No, Dr. Manhattan was a 13 seed. Somebody was crazy who wrote this. I don't know who it was.
It was you.
Okay, but it was like 3 a.m. Okay, then we also have Wonder Woman, a 14 seed, against Yoda, a 2 seed. So let's start out. We all know that Superman versus Dr. Manhattan is going to be the main event. So we're going to start off with Wonder Woman versus Yoda. Alonzo, you have a chance to weigh in first or defer. Guests always get that option.
Oh, I'll weigh in. I'll go in right now.
Let's go.
Yoda, this one's not even going to be close. Are you kidding? He has the force. He has an unknown force that combines the universe. I mean, he has access to. Well, you think you're going to throw a gold rope around Yoda and defeat a Jedi mind trick? Are you kidding? Your little invisible plane against Yoda? No, not even a chance. Have you seen Yoda in movies? Yoda pulls out tricks we didn't know he had. It was 4 movies before we saw him with a lightsaber, and he whipped everyone's ass. The little guy, he was flying. Yeah, we were like, I didn't even know he had one. I didn't know they came in his size. Yoda.
We thought he was he was still pretty geriatric at that point.
He was 900 years old. He was 900 years old, whipping ass with a lightsaber.
Yeah, eating hot dogs and all that.
It's
stuff.
called Red Bull. It's called Red Bull. I mean, there's no way an old man can act like that without Red Bull or something that's not natural in his system.
Nobody said that you can't drink Red Bull in this tournament.
That's true. It's legal.
I love Alonzo's argument. Alonzo, do you do a Yoda imitation? It's okay if you don't.
You don't want to hear it. Look as good.
I do
want
to hear it.
No, everyone. You just have to talk backwards.
No,
right?
bad. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
900
Listen,
years you have lived. Look as good you will not.
Yes, Yoda. Yes. Yoda. I see. Yoda keeps advancing partly because I have to keep imitating. For me, it's Yoda all the way. Alonzo really said it all. I'm done.
Wow, that was quick. I'm going to throw a wrench. I'm going to say Wonder Woman. Not because I don't have a lot of respect for Yoda. I do. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and he was certainly the cream of the Jedi. But I think Wonder Woman's got more game than anybody's given her credit for.
You went to college in the 90s, didn't you? And that's what's happening right here.
I did go to college in the 90s.
I'm going to call it like it is.
But thanks for stating
What's
my
your
age.
prejudice against old green Muppets?
Wow, that goes way back. Although Kermit, I don't want to get
Kasey,
into that. I've gone through my own therapy for that one. Yes, Alonzo.
I hate to shut you down, but Wonder Woman, and I love Wonder Woman, her powers are limited to Earth.
That's great.
To Earth. She's got one planet she's got powers
but
on.
from what I understand,
Yoda's running galaxies. Yoda's running galaxies,
I understand that,
my
but
friend.
the tournament's here on Earth, and she's the daughter of a god, so that's got to count for something. I mean, I think she might pull the upset here. So
very strong arguments.
Give her some love and
You're
throw
still gonna
Wonder
lose.
Woman forward. I don't know. Ross can help.
It's not you didn't give nearly as compelling a case as Alonzo did, but okay, I allow your vote because this is a
If
democracy.
that's what you got, Yoda.
That's right.
The force.
My
All right,
vote counts.
Ross, what do you say?
It depends.
Wait, hold on. We got to say this. Ross once said that Captain America would beat Yoda. That's insane. However, let's see what he says here. Wonder Woman's every bit as good as Captain America. I'm going to say that. If not better.
I'm going with the DC. She's DC comic, right? Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, I'm going with the DC comic Wonder Woman. I'll tell you why. She looks better in her bathing suit. Who looks better in her bathing suit, Yoda or Wonder Woman? Who looks better?
Interesting criteria. I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
Didn't know that was on the table.
Okay,
When 900 years old, you reach look as good in
I
a
sing
bikini.
Yoda. I
You
sing
will
Yoda in a G string. It's not pretty, guys. So
Let
let's
me
not
tell you
pretend.
this, Ross. If Yoda knew that was a criteria, he would put a Jedi mind trick on you, and you would see the sexiest person in a bikini you've ever seen every time you looked at Yoda. Remember, he is powerful over the weak-minded. I'm just saying, Ross. I'm just saying.
That's fine.
Nothing
Well, Wonder
personal.
Woman
You
is
saying
younger.
Ross is the weak-minded, or Wonder
I
Woman?
feel Wonder Woman's younger. I love her little bracelet she has to block everything. She has power, like she goes like this. It looks like a Black Panther thing.
Ross
Ross
feels
this,
that
she has
Wonder
power.
Woman is younger. It's obvious she's younger. All right, go ahead.
She has power. She has youth behind her. I like her. I think she always finds a way to win. I don't know what it is about Wonder Woman, but there's always a way she wins. And
she's
she
a
comes
Cinderella.
out a winner. I'm taking Wonder Woman on a TKO in the 6th round. I just feel Yoda's old. He's haggard. He just wants to go to the next level, which unfortunately it means he has to die. And I feel Wonder Woman's the person that's going to do it. Wonder Woman is my pick. You got it.
I sense the
Ross the
dark
Boss.
side in you.
Yeah, that's true. All Yoda did was defeat the Empire. That's all. That's
Yeah,
just
but
a
the
little thing.
Empire's
And he did it
old
without
and
even
haggard.
fighting
It's
himself.
old news.
Listen, she won.
didn't
she
Wonder
won
Woman
World
defeat
War
a Greek
II,
god?
but she needed help. She
But
needed
didn't
help
she
of 4
defeat a
soldiers.
Greek god in World War II?
Women
listen.
women are the future. I'm going with the woman, guys. You guys are all male.
Women are the
chauvinists.
future. Old green
I
Muppets
rarely
are the
agree
past.
with
I
Ross,
wish
but I'm
Lauren
proud
was
of
here.
him for a
Yeah,
change.
Ross. Yeah, Ross. You're on the women's side. She looks great in a bikini. Let her win. Oh yeah.
Didn't
Yeah,
objectify
that'll get you
her
the
at
women's
all.
side.
He's on the women's side.
Okay.
All right, we're bringing in a tiebreaker. So we're bringing in Fantasy Pros expert
Who?
Andrew Seifer. to
Oh,
come in
not
for the
this guy
tiebreaker.
again. Oh, this
It's
guy
always
never
him.
votes
It's always
for
him.
me.
Now listen, we all know the rules. Try not to sway Andrew in the direction you want to go because he will disagree with anything you say, except for what I just said, I hope. All right, go.
Well, when it's a 2-2, I have to agree with somebody, right? I mean, so some of you will be happy with this.
True. See, he disagrees with everything.
Well, I agree that Lauren's presence is greatly missed here for debating, this feminist hero that Wonder Woman has become. But I will say this is interesting because it's sort of the matchup of like Amazonia versus Dagobah. So you've got some pretty swampy battlegrounds here. But I've got a couple reasons why I think that Yoda is going to win this. One is, as Alonzo mentioned, you've got the lasso of truth. That's not going to work against Yoda. Yoda is all about the truth, but he makes the truth work for him. And the other thing is, even if Wonder Woman killed Yoda, he would just become a Force ghost, and then he could win the battle posthumously, or however you pronounce that word.
Posthumously,
there's
yes.
just no way that he can. Yes, there's just no way that he can lose, even if he dies.
Posthumously.
No, if he dies, the match is over.
Force
There's no
ghosts.
post
They're
stuff.
unstoppable.
That's not it.
Those chauvinists.
Andrew, you are the guy who, in a tiebreaker, killed off Mr. Miyagi, and I'm still angry with you. I'm wearing the Karate Kid shirt. However, you did well this time. Thank you.
You did well. The Force
Well
is
done.
with you. The Force is strong with
Force.
this one.
Well, there's way too many
always
Star
be with
Wars
you.
people in here, but this is one that belongs.
I will say we should have killed off the Emperor against Wolverine. That was
Okay,
my
Thank
mistake.
you.
We'll rectify that. Okay, thank you, Andrew. All right, Alonzo, we're on to the next one, and you have the floor if you want it. It is Superman versus Dr. Manhattan. This is a matchup we've all seen coming. Ross cannot stop talking about how Dr. Manhattan has already won this. I think to underestimate Superman is a very, very serious mistake. I'm not going to weigh in on who I think is going to win, even though I think Superman is going to win. And I guess I just went against my rules. But anyways, Alonzo, you can go first or second, depending on your
I'm
interpretation.
going to go
of what I
second
just
on this one. I'll wait on this one. I went first last time.
All right,
Dan,
Ross, you cannot go. You can't go next. It's
Have
gotta be
Kasey go.
So, Dan, did you go first then? I mean, you kind of already said who you were going, but
I guess you know what? Fine. I'll just step up and go first. Superman is like, he's like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. People are like, oh, I'm tired of seeing Superman win. It doesn't matter. Superman is a dominant force. He's basically indestructible. The only way that you can beat him is kryptonite. That is the only way you can beat him. So the question is, does Dr. Manhattan have kryptonite? I agree that he can get it, but here's the thing. Dr. Manhattan is too nice. He is too nice to to take down Superman with kryptonite. I just don't think he's going to do it. He's not even interested. The guy gets depressed and goes to Mars. This guy, he could win it all, but he can't put it all together. He's a head case. That's what I'm going to say. Superman takes it.
I agree entirely. My arguments are almost identical to yours. I don't think Dr. Manhattan's going to be able to whip up kryptonite in the middle of the match. And so I just think you can't take down Superman, and Dr. Manhattan's going to become disinterested and depressed and disappear, and Superman's just going to steamroll him.
Ross.
I couldn't agree more.
You guys are totally off base. First of all, Dr. Manhattan can make kryptonite. He can make anything he wants very quickly to appear in his hand. Well, like it did on the show, he made an egg appear very quickly like this.
Of course he can.
But
does he care?
You guys have no idea. The powers of Dr. Manhattan is endless.
He went with an egg as an
I don't
argument.
even know how you waste time arguing with these guys, Ross. It's too easy to beat them. Tie one hand behind my back. Are you kidding? Dr. Manhattan can go back through time to Krypton and get as much kryptonite as he wants, or he can create it. He can create worlds. Yes, he's a nice guy, so he will not kill Superman, but he will feel it is necessary to disable Superman because no one person should have that much power. He would make Superman mortal. He wouldn't destroy him. He would simply have enough kryptonite to lower his powers and make him another human. Dr. Manhattan has the wisdom of time. Superman, listen, I'm not sure Superman could take Thor, okay? When you talk about powers, Thor is a god. Thor never even uses his full power on Earth because he would destroy the planet. Yeah, Superman once spun the Earth around backwards enough to move back a day or two to save his girlfriend or something like that. But these guys travel through time like we travel through traffic on the 101. They're like, oh, I forgot something in 1911. Let me jump back there. Yeah, Dr. Manhattan, we don't even know the limit of his power. It's beyond the scope of imagination. Yes, Superman's stronger than a bullet. You still fighting bullets? What year is this? You still playing with bullets? That's cute. No, Dr. Manhattan. Come on.
Listen, Alonzo,
Dr. Manhattan. Did you guys watch the show on HBO last year? It won every Emmy in the world.
Obviously not. Obviously
you
not.
guys
No, I did.
Do you think there's anybody who can beat Dr.
And
Manhattan?
I will throw.
I don't know.
I
We
will
have to
throw
finish
another
the show.
thing in. I will throw another thing in
Let's
with
hear
Dr.
it.
Manhattan that you cannot beat. Regina King, who brings Black Girl Magic. I dare any of you to argue against Black Girl Magic.
I'm not.
Exactly.
I love
Got
Regina King,
quiet,
as you know. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
My God, Alonzo,
you
you are
about
bringing
a force
it.
in the universe. Yeah,
bringing
I'm
it
Dr.
today.
Manhattan, and she has Black Girl Magic. And you are Clark Kent. Not
Clark
impressed.
Kent. Oh my God! I didn't recognize you with those
Very
glasses
white.
on, Clark.
Very white.
With those glasses
From
on
the-
him from huge disguise.
From
Dr.
Nebraska,
Alonzo
I
said, Dr. Manhattan, hands down. I mean,
Listen,
he's
I'm
faster than the speeding bullet. I mean, you're right. What year is this?
All right, listen, Ross. I understand, but I got to give Alonzo some real credit here. He convinced me much more than you ever have.
I didn't finish my argument
Alonzo's
yet.
the real deal with debates.
Here's why.
I didn't get to finish,
Alonzo-
but I was getting on the path.
you
I've
get
heard
long
your
winded.
I
arguments
started it.
before.
Alonzo closes. I'm the opener.
I've heard
he's
your
the
arguments
closer.
before, but see, Alonzo went where. See, I made an argument, and Alonzo responded with a response to my argument, and
We're a
really
team.
did
We
actually
work
decimate
together.
it. And here's the thing. I said, why is he going to be motivated to do it? Because he didn't seem like he would be. What Alonzo said is that, it's too much power for one person to have. So here's the thing. I will grant you that Dr. Manhattan can move on. I will even switch my vote.
Yes.
Based on what Alonzo said. However,
Oh.
what this means is that Dr. Manhattan is actually far more vulnerable to lesser people than to Superman.
That's where his
putting it on the
apathy
record.
As
will
long as
show
I have
up.
Lauren on my side, I think I'm good, guys. Good luck beating Dr. Manhattan. But you guys can try.
Alonzo, you successfully changed my vote. I am the only person on here who's ever been flexible enough to change my vote. It happens.
Watch the series on
actually
HBO.
fairly regularly.
Watch the series on HBO and tell us what you think.
Ross, no one's doubting the power of Dr. Manhattan. They're questioning his motivation, and that is why Alonzo won this argument. Alonzo, thank you for joining us. This was
thank you,
awesome having
gentlemen.
you.
Thank you.
We want to have
So
you
we-
back.
Dr.
anytime
Manhattan's
you want.
back.
Absolutely.
Dr. Manhattan
Just
makes it
hit me
through.
up.
I can't
It
believe
was
Superman
my pleasure.
is gone.
Alonzo, thank you again. That was Monster Madness. What a great segment.
You are
That
the
was
man,
fun.
Alonzo.
Although I would like him to be on the next one when it's the next time we do this bracket, because won't it be Dr. Manhattan against Yoda? Ooh.
No.
Listen, Alonzo, if you want to come back
well,
for it, you let us know.
All right, that's a tough one right there.
Right, because you're a big fan of the little old green man.
No, that's going to be an intellectual fight. That rather than their powers, I think this is going to be mind versus mind. That's a tough one.
And they're both
Yoda.
working for a better universe.
Right, they're working for a better universe, and they've been through it all. It's going to be a good fight.
I like it, Alonzo. Thank you again for joining us. You are an excellent guest, and you've got much better arguments than Ross. No offense, Ross. Actually, offense. I guess it is an offense.
What am I saying? I think Ross and Alonzo should treat it like Mystery Science Theater 2000. Like he'll just talk for Ross, and Ross will just move his lips.
All right,
Ross, they don't know our history, my friend.
They
you
don't.
are on my team anytime.
I'm a big fan of Alonzo's. Thanks for coming on, Alonzo. I'll hit you up.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
I don't like to brag, but we are killing it. Killing it. Alonzo Bodden was hilarious. Dr. Ban, he was pretty good. Ross the Boss is always hilarious, as we all know. If you're not laughing, you're an idiot.
The boss has spoken. You must laugh. But I was good. On the next episode, we have more First and 10, all the picks for the upcoming week, more surprise guests, and another Brackets Elite 8 will be determined. Until next week, stay hungry, my friends. This has been MFSN's The Hub.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. I'm not asking. I'm forcibly demanding for your own sake as a fantasy player. I'm Ross the Boss, and I love talking fantasy sports with you, cowboy.
Lying with a blanket over my head, she asked if she could see who was under the blanket with me. I said, you don't want to find. It is Hideki Matsui.